Hey everybody, welcome to Power Driven Diesel. In today's episode, we want to see, is it possible to decrease your heat, decrease smoke, increase power, make your truck tow better? Stick around to find out. All right everybody, today we have Griff here. He's our head salesman. You've probably talked to him a time or two on the phone. This is his personal truck we're going to test on today. Quickly tell me, what is this truck?
Okay, we got a 2004 F350 that I got put a 97 12 valve motor into.
And this is a 180 pump.
180 pump.
With our 600-ish horsepower fuel package.
Correct.
So that's 5x14s, 025s, and that's paired with a 62 millimeter Borg charger.
Yep.
We think that we can decrease heat and smoke and make it spool and tow better. So stage one, we're gonna do a test with as it is. Then we're gonna change fueling. Then after that, we're gonna test some more, then change the air, test some more, and see if we can make this thing just run awesome, way better, less heat, less smoke, without losing power. Let's go hook up Griff's camper trailer, go pull a few grades, see what kind of heat we get, see what kind of smoke control we have, run through the gears. This is a manual so we can see every time he shifts how much it smokes. Once we're done with that, we'll come back here and down with this bad boy. All right guys, we are getting on the freeway. Let's watch the smoke as we run through the gears. And this awesome Cummins, we're going to leave it tuned the same for the next turbo, and then again the same for the turbos and fuel. All right guys, we are coming up on this grade. Got the cruise set about 75 miles an hour. We're going to keep a close eye on EGT and boost and see how clean it is at the exhaust when we've got full boost climbing this hill. So here it comes. You hear that turbo kicking in pretty good now. Creeping up on 1200. Smoke's not bad. You got a little bit of haze, but not terrible. A little over 1200 now. It's holding speed just fine. It's got plenty of power. Just over 1200 degrees. A little bit of a haze I can see. Overall, good. I mean, this is a very quality build. Been that long time. You're what, 25 pounds boost?
Yep.
You're now about 1250.
Pretty much every hill. Doesn't matter the hill I drive. 1200 degrees.
All right, guys, we are back from our towing test, and we have Griff's Cummins on the dyno. We're going to do a quick run, max power, and
Tuned mode, so same type of mode that we were running when we were towing everything.
And how much pressure is in the AFC on that one?
10 psi.
10 psi in the AFC lights. We're going to do those quick runs, max power. We're going to watch for EGT, watch for smoke, watch for power. Then we're going to swap out fuel. We're going to change delivery valves and put in our new Powerjet injectors. We want to clean this guy up. I think we can do that without losing power, maybe even drop some heat.
Hopefully.
So we're going to get this on the dyno now, make some runs, swap fuel, dyno again, back on the tow test. Let's get started. All right guys, dyno runs are done for this first part of this test. Let's take a look at the numbers. This is our first full power run, right?
Yep, this was with the 5x14s in it.
5x14s and 025 delivery valves.
Yep.
So we did 508 horsepower, 1270 foot-pounds of torque today on this dyno. And then we put in our PowerJets, and we've actually dropped delivery valve size, did our 055s.
We did.
Which we've done a lot, and I've always been shocked how good the results are when we drop delivery valves. These new injectors, it just works well. So, all right, so let's take a look at the new run with the new injectors. All right, so PowerJets.
Yep.
This is full power mode, smaller DVs. You're at 18 degrees timing on this. People are going to want to know that. So 18 degrees timing.
18 degrees timing.
180 pump, 055 delivery valves, PowerJets, no other changes.
That's it.
Same day, same dyno.
Literally changed them on the dyno.
Yes. So we picked up almost 30 horsepower, 27 horsepower, 1332. I don't remember the torque was. 1270. 1270.
Yeah, we picked up
62 foot-pounds.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. Now, just from watching the dyno runs, I'm excited to see the split screen side by side, but watching them, seemed like when you're going through the gears, the smoke was way, way less. I mean, when you mashed it, they were both plenty of fuel. Lots of P pumps, you know.
Yeah, they always feel hard.
And we know eventually this may get some compounds, but it's definitely more fuel than this little turbo can handle. But until you get to full fuel, it was really clean.
Mm-hmm.
So let's go ahead and look at these graphs together. Let's compare the original to the new. Okay, guys, this is comparing the two full power runs with the old injectors and delivery valves with our new PowerJets and the 055s. You can see that the bright lines are the higher power.
Yep, those are the PowerJets.
Those are the PowerJets. The duller lines, like the bright red versus the dull red. So let's start with torque, the bright yellow. You can see the torque peaked pretty much the exact same location, same RPM. We just picked up, 60 foot-pounds, or 62 on that particular spot. The boost was very, very similar on these. So is it 40 to 45? Is that what I'm seeing? So 5 PSI difference, bigger than, no.
Historical, 45 versus 45. Yeah, the same amount of boost.
Yeah, 45 to 45. I was looking at the wrong thing, sorry here. So same amount of boost.
100 degrees and drop in EGTs.
So 100 degrees. I mean, you can look at this line. Look at this bright red line versus the PowerJets versus and the 055s versus the old one. We're 100 degrees cooler.
And we started this run a lot
earlier.
So we're taking heat in a lot sooner than we have started here. Like here, we pounded the throttle hard here, and that heat would have started sooner. And
yes.
So it's crazy how much colder we are.
Yeah, it really stays a lot colder. And then horsepower, of course. Again, very similar graphs. The green line, the bright green versus the dark green here. They diverge, but again, we have like a 30 horse difference here. And the graphs look very similar. Everything, the curves, everything's very similar. One just makes more power and does it with less heat, and it does it with less smoke, which you're going to see here in a few seconds. So at full power, this thing really wins. Now, again, this is still pretty hot. You get way up here, 2,900 RPM, you're way out of the efficiency of this turbocharger, and they're both still really, really hot. 1,700, 1,800 degrees, very hot up there, because the turbo, doesn't matter what you do, that turbo is not happy at that RPM range, but it's just not designed for that.
And you're seeing that in this because your peak power is here, your peak horsepower is here, so your torque numbers, you've stopped making power at 2,300 RPMs.
Yep.
All I'm doing from 2,300 up is just making heat.
Just look how it's like it kind of flatlines and then just boom, goes up. So you can really see this turbo is just really wanting you to grab a gear.
Yep.
Great for towing, great for driving around, great for a little hot rodding, but not for wrapping up to 3,000 RPM. You need a bigger turbo for that. All right, let's take a look now at the tuned runs. We have the AFC Live letting 10 PSI of air into the AFC housing. They're both the same. Let's see if we picked up power. Let's see what happened here. So this is the original 5x14s, 025s.
Yep.
With 321 horsepower and 731 foot-pounds of torque. It's a pretty good towing machine. To have that much power to the wheels, you can tow a trailer pretty good at that amount of power. So it still works really well. But still, did we pick up power by going smaller in delivery valves and putting the new super efficient PowerJet injectors? Let's check out the new page. All right, so here's the new PowerJet. So 336 horsepower versus 321 horsepower.
Yep.
So it's all 15 horsepower gain, which this is super fuel limited. I mean,
we didn't change anything.
You have plenty of turbo for this amount of fuel.
Yeah, and we haven't changed anything. With the AFC pressure is exactly the same. It's 10 PSI, so we're still dealing with the exact same thing. All we did was change smaller delivery valves and better injectors, and we picked up horsepower by doing that, which is amazing.
Yeah, we've had a lot of fun with these and testing. Every time it's been the same. And we picked up torque too, from 731 to 755. That's 24 foot-pounds, so that's legit. I mean, it's not huge, but again, we're fuel limited. We're just trying for little things here. Let's see the graphs. Let's pull up the graphs and take a look at the different numbers. All right, so you can see, again, peak torque, very similar RPM, just more. The bright yellow line is the new injectors, new delivery valves. The dull yellow line, the duller lines are the older stuff. And you can just see, again, as they go, just the bright lines higher, we just have more power throughout the whole entire run with the new injectors and the new delivery valves. Interesting to me on this one is the heat is higher in this particular pull with the new stuff versus the old, which is the opposite that we saw in the other one.
Right.
So to me, did we pick up heat or not? A lot of this can be like, was the motor more heat soaked? Did we not let it cool down between runs as much? There's a lot of variation that happens on the dyno that you can't account for. We're about 30 degrees higher across the run. The real test is going to be when we put the trailer on and go tow. That's going to tell us, did we pick up heat or not? I mean, in theory, we could have picked up heat because we're getting that feel in there. Maybe it's burning more efficiently, putting heat out. I don't know. I'll be curious to see on the actual tow test where we have good air over the intercooler. We're not where it's like really light to like 10 minutes of driving, 15 minutes of driving to see if it really does do that. But on this test, we actually have more heat here, which I'm very surprised about. That hasn't been what we've seen in the past. The towing test will show. So boost is quite a bit interesting. Look how much more boost you have here. Especially up top, you got your 33 versus 30. 21. It's just, you can see the blue lines here diverge pretty decently. So just, again, then that would, so you're running more lean.
Mm-hmm.
Very interesting.
Yeah, it's odd that we're gonna, I mean, but we did hit this run pretty quick. Like, we didn't give much time for cool down on this. We gave a little bit more cool time on that 5x14s. And so it could have been, I mean, by the time I was done, I was at 201 degrees of coolant temp, where the old run, I was at 180. So, I mean, that's 30 degrees right there.
Yeah, let's get this thing loaded up on a trailer. Let's go on the road, because that's going to be a real test for EGT. I want to get the GoPro back on the exhaust. I want to see the exhaust as we're rowing gears, as we're getting the cruise control at 70 miles an hour, pulling hills. It's going to be clean. I know it's going to be clean. So anyway, let's hook up that trailer. Let's go do our next towing test. All right, we're getting back on the freeway here. This is the same stretch we did earlier this afternoon. That smoke is ridiculously low. Oh, there's a little puff. Oh, clean.
Same everything. All we changed was delivery valves and injectors. This is right now is full throttle. I'm 1,200 degrees, basically sustained.
Oh, that's awesome.
And climbing at miles per hour. And climbing a hill, like we're going up.
Yes, 1200, you're just stuck there, dude.
Yeah, like it's not going up.
are back to the shop from that first day of towing. We're going to wrap up this day and tomorrow. New turbo, more testing, dyno and towing to see, if we can even make it better still. All right, guys. So the turbo we're going to put in Griff's tow truck to make this thing awesome is our Aggressor HE351 6067.
That's right.
And this is going to drop a ton of heat.
Yep.
At least it has in every truck we've tried so far.
Well, we're hoping it's going to drop some heat.
So real quick, guys, this is the Aggressor 6067. This is an HE351 base turbo. We start from 351. We put in a billet 60 millimeter compressor wheel. We hog out the turbine housing for 67 millimeter 10 blade wheel, and it just gets rid of heat like crazy. This thing is just an EGT killing monster. It works awesome. The 60 millimeter is more tow oriented. We have a 62 also if you're wanting towing and hot rodding a little bit, but for you,
I want a tow truck.
You want a tow truck. And so we're putting the 60 millimeter in. To see what does it do for power. Do we pick up power? Do we lose power? Do we pick up spool? Do we lose spool? And do we pick up smoke, lose smoke, and heat? So we're going to do the same thing before.
Yep.
Test it with the old turbo on the dyno.
Yep.
Test it with the old turbo towing. New turbo dyno, new turbo towing.
Yep.
Go over the dyno sheets, go over the results, look at the video. Let's get started. All right, we are here in front of the dyno screen. We just did our dyno runs with a new turbo. So now this is done. New turbo, new injectors, new delivery valves. Let's see what happens. So, 523 horsepower. I think that's down from yesterday a little bit. I think we're like 530.
We were 539 or somewhere around there.
But so now different day, different dyno, but technically it's a loss.
Yep.
Now it's a smaller compressor wheel.
It is.
60 versus 62, and a tighter turbine housing.
Tighter turbine housing.
Still, in my experience, I haven't lost power, but we lost a little bit of power, but the torque jumped significantly. Let's pull up, so 1374. So now let's pull up the screen of yesterday's max power run with the bigger injectors, or the new injectors, PowerJets, with a Borg SXE turbo. So yesterday, we did make 535 horsepower, so that's 12 horsepower difference, but we made 1332, which is 40 foot-pounds less.
Yep.
So, man, you're not gonna lose 40 foot-pounds.
No, and 40 foot-pounds you fill. I mean, at the end of the day, horsepower is a number. Torque is what you're filling when you're driving your truck.
But to be fair, we did lose 12 horsepower with this turbo compared to the Borg.
We did.
But we did pick up a fair bit of torque. All right, let's go ahead and compare graphs now on this. Let's compare horsepower and torque. Let's see where the power was made. All right, so you can see from this, the new turbo spools up significantly quicker. This is the bright yellow line right here is the new. The dull is yesterday's run. You can actually see yesterday started higher, but this one spools so much quicker, which is why you get that big torque gain.
Well, and I was having a hard time getting it to come up. Like really at 1500, we'd hit it, and it'd be like, okay, let's get going. Come on, with that 62 on there. Versus this new Aggressor that we have on it. I mean, it comes up significantly faster. I mean, so much so is that we actually had Lawnon sitting in the truck while we were dynoing this truck, and he's sitting in it, and he goes, man, I can feel it on the dyno come up faster than what it was coming up before. I mean,
every time you grab a gear.
Yeah, if we're grabbing a gear, just trying to get up to speed where I can get going dynos in sixth gear. And so, I mean, when you fill it on the dyno, you know it's going to translate.
Awesome. And so, but you can see, so we got away quicker, but it did fall. It fell off, so it peaked and then fell. It's peaked a little bit later and fell, and it just kind of maintained that gap. So that 62 has a little advantage all the way through at max power.
Great.
What was our boost on this? Let's pull up the boost numbers real quick on these. This is quite a big jump. You can see how much faster the bright blue line comes up compared to the dark blue line.
Yeah.
And way more boost. I mean, just a lot more. And that's that tighter housing. It just drives that compressor. Plus that 60 millimeter compressor, that drives that compressor a lot harder. And that's what you're seeing here. A lot more boost. Probably has more drive pressure, and that's probably why you lost power. Or it could be just a different day, things change. What's interesting here at max power is the EGT split. Up to 2,000 RPM, we're better because we started higher with the Aggressor Turbo than the Borg.
Yep.
Then the Borg passed it at about 2100 RPM, no, about 2000 RPM. The Borg really shines in its exhaust temperatures compared to this at max power.
Now, in comparison, this is 30 degrees. Like, we're not talking
Yeah, so
hundreds
go
of
like
degrees.
right here. Let's just kind of compare some exhaust right in this area so we can see both exhaust temperatures. Or anywhere in here.
Yeah, I mean, right here, okay, we're 100 degrees.
So
So
100 degrees at 2900 RPM.
right, completely out of this turbo's efficiency.
Out of both of them, but you really see that's, I mean, the bigger housings, which the Borg has a 12 centimeter housing versus a 9 centimeter housing.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you're going to see is more heat at the higher RPMs.
Correct.
I'm really curious to see, though, on the towing test, what's going to happen. Because historically, we've been shocked at the EGT control of this turbo versus a Borg.
Yeah.
Now, max power, okay, you're going to be 100 degrees hotter. That's legit. That's something to consider when you're buying a turbo. You should think about that, what your goals are with the truck. You want a tow truck.
Yeah, I didn't want a race truck. I want a tow truck.
Yep, so we got more boost, a little more
Faster.
heat, way faster boost. This is going to be a lot more fun on the street. I mean, it's going
yeah.
to be cool. Let's go now to the tuned runs. So this is the tuned numbers, 340 horsepower. I believe that's more than yesterday's run.
Yep, a little bit.
And I'm certain that we didn't see 800 foot-pounds, so I'm certain this is a big gain. I don't know how much. I'll have to look at the screen, but 340, I think you're in the 330s. I don't remember. We'll pull it up.
Yeah.
I know you're in the 700s, not 800s, so that's a pretty good towing setup right there to the ground. Let's pull up, and man, at 2,000 RPM, that's right in the meat of towing. You're just going to be tow awesome. Let's pull up yesterday's run with the old Borg 362 turbo. Oh, well, that's pretty interesting. 336 horsepower, so 4 horsepower difference. I mean, you picked up power, that's pretty cool, but look at the torque.
Yeah, I mean, huge. We picked up 55 foot-pounds of torque. And if you look, we're picking it up in the torque range. We picked it up 100 RPMs.
170,
172.
You're at 2,000 RPM flat.
Yeah, I'm 2,000 RPMs, 2172. And when we're talking about Dodge guys, I mean, with you with 355 gears, you guys are spinning 1900s, usually 70 miles an hour down the freeway.
Yeah.
So where this peak of this turbo is 2200, where the other one is right in that prime spot. That's right where that turbo is going to be perfect.
Let's look
for
at the
towing.
graph. Let's look at the graphs. I'm really curious about this one. All right, so you'll notice in this graph here, we started the run with the Aggressor Turbo a lot earlier. One, because we could. I wanted to see what it'd do from an early dig, and to see you couldn't do that with the other turbo. Just as you're lugging it too much.
I mean, I could have, but it would. I mean, we tried starting at 1500 run one time. It took it about 20 seconds to get to there. I mean, it was forever to get it up and going, and we just didn't want to heat soak it.
Yeah.
And I mean, if you look at this, how much faster that run was, and so starting it at 1500, it just came on so quick.
And you see this big torque curve here, and the power again, like they really kind of, the differences are not much, and they come together. But again, this is a fuel limited run. This is all turbo. This is exact same fueling. So this is all turbo, which that big torque is because it spools up earlier. See that big torque advantage. Horsepower, you know, it's going to come together when the other turbo lights. They both have enough air for this fuel limited run. So the power difference, again, different day, same down a different day. Either way, I'm not saying which one made more power, but the torque, that is definitely not like an anomaly. This made more torque, which is not surprising. All right, guys, this part's my favorite. I was watching the EGT live. We're going to pull up the EGT readings only. I want you to see the EGT between the Aggressor versus the Borg. Same fueling. This is going to be wild. It's so cool. It's insane. It's just insane. When we started this pull earlier, like here's where you're coasting down. It's just crazy, like how much heat this one has. Like go to like, 2,000, 2,100 RPM. This is where you're towing. Right here. Let's get a reading right in here. Okay, right there. We're 250 degrees cooler on the Aggressor versus that turbo.
And started earlier. Like this
Yes.
is a run where I started at 1800, so I let it come right below about 1750, and then you punch it
Yep.
at 1750. Where this one, I brought it down to 1400. We actually drug it down lower than I was meaning to, and we hit it, and then it starts at 1500. So we had a lot of heat time to happen there.
It's just wild. I mean, just this difference is huge. I'm excited to do the real test. The real test is with the trailer on the road. I mean, here, it's inside where it's not
controlled.
perfect, but on the road, for a long pull, these pulls are 10 seconds long max. let's go for a couple of minutes, but still, just look at this. This EGT control is insane. So this is by time. So look how much longer we ran this one just because we could. I mean, we've eventually caught up to it because we took such a long run, but it's such a huge, huge difference in EGT.
Yeah, but I mean, even look at, like, let's go to, if you went to your peak EGT point on that to this, I mean, you're still, like, the hottest week, I mean, we're 1190. I think at the end of this run, we were what, 1250?
And you were in it for a long, I mean, that's 28
28
seconds at full power in the tune mode, on the flat foot.
But still, I mean, we're talking 1343, and this is 2,900 RPM, 3,000.
Yeah, way out of the RPM
I mean,
range.
we're way out of where the window is, and still only 1,300 degrees. Like, this is you trying to climb a hill at full power and downshifting and trying to get it to happen. And really, you're not making power at that anyways.
Yeah. This is cool. I'm excited to get this thing on the road. Let's check some boost numbers in this. Let's go over to our boost numbers. I'm curious what they did between the two different turbos. Well, there you go. Just like you'd think. It just spools up quicker and makes more all the way through, making more boost all the way through, which that's going to help with the EGT control. And again, it makes more boost because the turbo can.
Yep.
It's just easier. That smaller compressor, that tighter housing works really, really well. So I'm excited to get this on the road. Let's go hook this trailer up. Let's go put this in the road and see what it does. All right, guys, we are back on day 2. The dyno session was a huge success. In my opinion, a lot of torque, a big torque gain, huge EGT reduction, max power, a little bit of a loss. Not too surprising. I think it could still be a dyno to dyno day variation, but we're on the towing experiment now. This is a real test. How's it going to do?
Way better already.
Way better already. So today's a different day. The temperature outside is pretty similar to yesterday. It is overcast, but I still think it's close enough that the test is valid. You know,
about 5 degrees cooler.
Maybe it's not a huge difference. So there is that to be fully open and honest, but it's the best we can do. We ran out of time yesterday, so. But to be at the EGT we are right now is a big drop from yesterday. He's over here just laughing because he's like, just laughing, can't believe it.
900 degrees. This hill we were at 1,000. No, we were at like 1,100.
Yeah.
And we haven't hit the hill yet. Now, so we'll hit the hill, but we never saw 800 degrees that whole drive.
No.
Like 800 was when we were idling.
Yes.
We just hit 800.
So all right, we're going up the hill. Let's see where he gets to. We're holding 70 miles an hour, 75. We're accelerating. We're actually not holding, we're actually accelerating.
I'm accelerating.
We're accelerating up this hill at just touched 1,100 degrees. Now we're at speed.
75.
Temperature starting to drop as you're climbing the hill.
We're 1,000 degrees.
1,000 degrees.
1,000 degrees.
So before we started this thing, what would this hill do?
This was 1,250, 1,300.
1,250. So we're a 250 to 300 degree drop. Apples, apples. This hill, this trailer, this truck. Nice.
We haven't even hit 1,200 yet. Like, we were at 1,200 degrees just starting up this hill, where we were at the bottom of the hill trying to do that same thing.
Yeah, you're actually accelerating. So this next little hill, let's get the speed and just maintain. You're kind of he's having a little bit of fun here. Sorry, guys. Like, I can't believe that's just silly EGT.
Look at that. We hit the top of the hill and just right down to 1,000.
I'll bet you once you flatten out, it's going to drop down to 900 degrees.
Yeah. These people in front of me are going fast enough.
Yes. Yeah, we're going faster today than we were yesterday. I'm looking at your speedometer. We're actually going fast. Like, you're down to 900 degrees already. It's like a heat rejection machine. I don't know. It lets the heat out so fast. This turbo does. It works so well. You're under 900 degrees. This is wild. All right, here comes the next hill, about 10 seconds. Let's just try to keep our same speed, not accelerate up it. See what happens. 900. 950. We haven't even touched 1,000 yet. It's ridiculous. There's 1,000. 1050. That is a massive drop.
That's a huge drop.
Yeah.
I mean, mean, even with the injectors, which the injectors helped a lot.
Yes.
I mean, they pulled 100 degrees out of that hill.
You just pulled another 100 out.
We pulled another 100 degrees. We're below 1,200 degrees.
You're below 1,100 degrees.
Yeah. So we're below 1,100 degrees.
Yeah.
Yes, you're correct.
You're at 1,000 right now. We still haven't got to the top of the hill yet.
Right. Where before, like, we crested the hill and we did this. Yeah, it was about 1,100 yesterday. Like, it's
Yeah.
right about 1,100,
Yeah.
which was impressive.
Yeah, you're
But,
thrilled.
I mean, we haven't looked at smoke.
There is no smoke.
Lack of smoke, I should say now.
Yeah, this part of the video is going to be boring. Watching
Yeah.
the smoke, there's nothing to see.
If no more.
We do have higher cruising boost.
Yes.
What you would expect with that housing, but it's not so high that it's like crazy. It's just where it wants to be. It's happy. Just a little bit more, which is why you have the EGT control. That's why we have the smoke control. Just a little bit more boost under all situations.
But look, we just hit the top of the hill.
Yeah.
I'm now at 950 degrees,
Yeah.
hitting the top of the hill. Man,
Yeah, it's really, really cool.
response is so much better too.
Yeah, driving this thing around, you guys, one thing that's hard to like give in the video is how much nicer it is just to drive. The boost comes up way faster, what you saw on the dyno graph. I guess you can show that, and it really makes it feel like, even though our peak power is down a little bit, it feels way faster. Like, seat of the pants, you'd say, oh, this picked up 100 horsepower,
Yeah.
even though we lost 10. We just got off the freeway, guys, and we are at 400 degrees. That's crazy.
Here's my lug.
Oh, you're lugging it now, yeah.
Yeah, but look, like
Still,
even
no.
lugging it.
Oh, we lugged that as bad as we could, just so you guys can see how smoky it could be. There you go again, just
Yeah, but I could.
nothing.
No way I could have pulled out of that with the 62. Well, I'd call that a significant improvement.
Significant improvement.
Yes. I mean, injectors, delivery valves, turbo, smoke.
New truck.
Totally different truck.
All right, guys, we're going to wrap this video up, and we have been just thrilled with the performance, with the upgrades, how well it's working. I bet you're totally thrilled with your new truck.
Static. Drives so much better. We've got a lot less smoke, got a lot more similar amounts of power. I didn't really pick that up, but much better driving, much better towing. I mean, this is a truck that I've always fought EGTs with. I don't even have to think about it anymore.
It's just been awesome. This is a Ford 12 valve Cummins in your Ford truck.
Yep.
Works awesome.
Works great.
What more could you ask for?
Not much. Maybe compounds.
Maybe compounds. That's next, guys. We need to put some compounds on this. This is a great truck because this has the diesel conversion specialist kit. So we're going to build a kit that fits Cummins based on the DCS kit. So pay attention because you're going to see this truck again. It's going to have compounds.
Soon, I hope.
Soon, you hope. We'll see. But anyway, guys, even as a single, works awesome.
Yeah, it does exactly what I was wanting it to get.
So it's been really fun. Really cool truck. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope it's been interesting for you. So anyway, we will see you guys next time.
Like and subscribe.